What is the most corrupt, scammy, and unethical industry? Sober living communities. They benefit immensely from a cycle of relapse and return, paying enormous fees to re-enter. It has to be gambling. I live in Vegas and see young people spending their kids' college money, retired people dumping all their SSN and retirement dollar. Of course, it was worse back in the day when other people ran the casinos. And yes, it's your own choice to gamble away your house and livelihood. My brother-in-law gambled away at roulette to the tune of $86,000. Felt real bad for the guy. He told me that, if you owe the casino a lot of cash, they don't take you into the desert and break your legs like the old days. They just give you a credit card and charge you 20% interest. What do you miss the most from your childhood? Not being stressed. Summer vacation. I actually really liked the lockdown as I sorta got to relive summer vacation. Not being in pain unless I'd been actually injured. None of this spending the day in agony because I slept partially off of my pillow or throwing out my back because I sneezed bullshit. How long the days seem to last. 4 decades later, and the time just seems to fly by. Every year it goes by quicker. My mom's favorite saying. My hair. Male pattern baldness kicked in at 25. What little hair I had either turned gray or turned loose. I miss hearing. He's just a kid. What's a civilization-ending scenario that most people aren't aware of? A slow burn collapse is much more likely than a single major event to cause something major. As a kid, I learned that if a gamma ray burst is coming right at us, we really can't do anything about it. We just get fried. Kept me up for a few nights. Solar flare knocking out electric grids. Not only restarting them from a black start is highly complicated, if the transformers are fried, there aren't enough replacements. And to manufacture more we need, you guessed it, electricity. The estimations are that a solar flare on the level of Carrington event, which happened not 2 centuries ago, would cause trillions in damages and set back civilization for decades. There's a fear that the trend of human body temp decreasing over time will expose us to more rates of fatal fungal infections. Most people are now less than 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit. What would instantly destroy your life just by doing it once? Negligent homicide. I'm sure self-defense killings are not as difficult to handle as it is justified, not saying everyone would be fine, but negligent homicide is another level. You drive drunk, text while driving, or not pay attention and smack into a pedestrian, you're going to live in a nightmare. Pet the bison. Jump in the hot spring. Climb the rail. Hike into the desert when everyone and their mother told you not to. National parks are a gauntlet of Darwinian temptation. Never seen a happy crackhead, and I hear it only takes once. Former addict here, in my early 20s, had a friend group of about 15 people that got hooked on all kinds of shit. 15 years later, only 3 of us aren't dead or in prison. As an American, getting really sick. Even if I survive, I'll likely go bankrupt from it. What? Rich people foods actually aren't very good? Shark fin soup is not very good. The fin is super gummy and doesn't add much flavor. Most of the flavor comes from other things in it. Caviar. Way too salty for me. Real caviar uses borax instead of salt, which allows the actual flavor to shine through. However, a lot of countries ban using borax as a food additive because, it's borax. So they have to use a lot of salt instead. Since caviar isn't a staple, I think it's okay to include a little poison as a treat, but I also don't manage food safety regulations. Lobster is severely overrated. Give me crab legs or shrimp any day. Not mad at this. Sam's Club has been having king crab for $20 per pound recently, and I got 4 pounds in my freezer right now. What is one hill that you will forever die on? Politicians shouldn't have better healthcare than the people they represent. Term limit on Congress. Why the FUCK is the retirement age 60 plus considered unfit to work? Yet people well over that age are the ones running the fucking country? If someone says, good morning, answer with good morning, even if it's past noon. Don't correct them with, actually, it's good afternoon. Maybe they don't know what time it is. They're wishing you something good, Be a fucking human and wish it back. What loophole did you exploit before someone found out? When in high school, there was a company that offered money to run an advertising window at the top of your screen. It would monitor mouse movement to track whether you were at your computer, and pay a small amount per hour. A buddy and I downloaded it, and a mouse-moving software, and would run both 24/7, except when we were on the computer. Made a few $100s off of it before the company closed down. My old apartment complex had a soda vending machine at the pool that was broken. If you put in 50 cents and pressed the button, nothing happened. If you put in another 50 cents and pressed the button, nothing happened. But if you put 50 cents in a third time and pressed the button, you'd get 3 sodas. I could see the vending machine from my couch. So I would watch for someone to try, and then try again, and then give up without trying a third time. And then I'd head over and get 3 sodas for 50 cents. Has anyone actually seen in person at a wedding any people who have objected? What's the story? Incredibly anticlimactic, an ex-boyfriend stood up and said he was still in love with the bride, so the wedding couldn't go ahead. Afghan said that wasn't a valid reason. He sat back down. I saw this once. The pastor is asking this and people are looking around. 2/3 of the way back is a very pregnant young lady standing up. People start to turn to look at her. She say, "I'm sorry, I have to pee." That was as a close one. The groom's stomach must have been through the floor for that split second. LMAO. There wasn't an objection, but my cousin's rehearsal dinner was nuts. The bride and the maid of honor were both pregnant by the groom and the best man. But vice versa of what you think. It all came to a head because the best man spoke up that the wedding was a bad idea. So just switch the couples and save money with a double wedding. Seems pretty simple. Police officers of Reddit, what are some things innocent people do that make them seem suspicious? Retired police here from UK. Innocent people seem to confess everything even when not a crime, as they're so desperate not to be in trouble. Example: knocking on doors for information. Guy answers door and immediately started to confess his tires are a little bald, and he has some dodgy cigarettes, and he did accidents drop some litter. Like, dude, chill out, it's fine. I was a fire investigator for a while. It was talking a lot. Now some people just talk a lot when they get nervous, and that's easy to tell. Like, those people aren't actually talking about anything, they're just saying words at you. The suspicious ones are the ones who are clearly trying to talk you directly to where they've set up their diversion, but can't just stop talking about it, and adding more and more and more details. To the point where they've remembered too much about what happened. What is something presently happening that people don't realize could have huge consequences? The rise of antibiotic-resistant bacteria. Seriously, folks, take your antibiotic as your physician told you. Do not stop because you are doing better. My cat is currently low of her favorite food. If I can't get to the store on time, it could mean the end of civilization as we know it. Edit, she got her food. Rent is being controlled by an algorithm company called RealPage, designed to optimize and maximize prices across a city. Currently, the Justice Department has taken it to court. We'll see if that does anything. The media has taken to simply lying to manipulate the masses in the most concerted ways seen in history. Literally everything about pollution and global warming. While it could be an anomaly, this February was the hottest February in my region in recorded history, up to 20 C. If that wasn't a sign that the climate is going to absolute shit, then I don't know what will be. What's the most obvious scam people fall for every day? Influencers selling money-making courses, usually just a quick tutorial about exchanging Canadian dollars to Japanese yen back and forth to make pennies each transaction. Once the buyer also figures out that they only make $5 a day doing this, they'll too start selling courses on how to do it because that's where the real money is. Sitting at a park on my lunch break. Some dude pulls up and said he desperately needs gas money. I give him $5 and he drives off. Now I feel like an idiot. This just happened. I had a guy come to my house once saying he needed gas money and I gave him $5. The next day he came back and said it again. Be honest, why are you single? Husband died, don't want another one. I do not leave the house. My roommate who never left the house ended up getting married to this delivery girl that would come deliver my food once a week. It was always the same person because it was a meal plan service from a small family-owned business. I was always at work when she delivered, so he would always accept the deliveries for me, and they would keep making small chat and just kinda hit it off from there. At the wedding, the officiate said, "I always heard that if you do what you love, the right person will come to you. I never realized playing video games on my couch was an option. Because I am invisible to the opposite gender. Never been complimented, never been seen. And last but certainly not the least, ugly. Have a nice day, y'all." What is the most widely believed but wrong idea that many people have about health or exercise? That you'll get huge by exercising. That you'll get thin by exercising. Exercise can change your shape. But it's 90% diet that changes your size. There's a huge industry built on people believing that doing core exercises will give you a flat stomach. You can expand that to any exercise that targets a specific body part. Things like the ab roller, bean, thigh master, etc. were huge in the 80s and 90s. Eating a lot of foods with vitamin C will prevent illness. Vitamin C is certainly vital to immune health, but it's not a cure-all. Just because X worked for person A doesn't mean it will work the same for person B. Gender, age, height, body shape, any medical conditions, whether you know of them or not, past injuries, all can play a role. X can be kiat, no fat, running, Pilates, whatever health or fitness thing.